So I did a poll on my Instagram last night. It was between two looks, a more cool tone look or a full-on black smoky eye, and you guys have chosen the full-on black smoky eye. 75% of you chose the full glam. So I'm just going to pop some moisturiser primer on. This is the Banana Bright Face Primer from Ole Henriksen. And I am going to just mix it up a little bit. I want to try and do like a black glitter. So I've done my soap brows already. I'm going straight in with my primer. So I'm using the P. Louise base, which is what I always use. This is in the shade 2. And with my base today, I'm only applying this underneath my brow and just a tiny bit into my crease. I'm not going onto my lid at all because I'm going to be applying another base on there. I still like to apply a bit of a base on top because that's where I want to blend my transition shades, and also I have a lot of redness around my eyes, so this just helps cancel everything out. So with a black smoky eye, you kind of have to trust the process a little bit. I'm going to try and make it as easy as I possibly can. So for eyeshadows, I'm using the Lunar Beauty Life's a Drag palette because it's got some really nice neutrals and it's got a nice black in the corner as well. So the first shade that I'm going to go in with is this one, which is called Hunter. So with this look, I want it to be slightly more rounded, so I'm not going to be blending it out in the outer corner like I usually do. So that's going to feel a little bit strange. I'm just going to do like a half moon shape through my crease, coming into this inner corner and then finishing just on that very outer corner. And that's why I like to still apply a little bit of base up here because it just helps everything blend and you just get so much more pigment out of your eyeshadow with a base underneath. Okay, so I'm happy with that for now. I'm now going in with a slightly smaller blending brush and I'm going to pick up Mug, which is a much more deeper brown. And this I'm not blending up as far, I'm just going to blend this more into my actual socket. So still on the very outer corner, keeping my brush in the same space and then just letting the bristles work it out. So I'm not really doing circular motions with this one, it's just back and forth with this. Just keep building it up until you're happy with it. You can go back in later on and deepen this up, which we probably will do anyway, so don't worry too much if you want to go steady and not apply too much at once. So you can see now our lids have got nothing on them and you can see where we need to put the base now. So I'm going to be using a black gel liner for this. Actually, this is the Maybelline Eyeshadow Black Gel Liner. This is my favourite gel liner and it's so nice as an eyeshadow base as well if you want that really dark black smoky eye. And I'm just blending it into the back of my hand, making sure that it's nice and creamy. If I'm doing a winged eyeliner, I do this exact same thing as well, because I do feel like it works a lot better if it's warmed up. So to apply this now, I'm going to apply it in the areas where I want it to be more deepest the most. So that's in the very centre and like towards my lash line, and then we need to kind of diffuse it into the shadow as we work our way up. So I'm just going to use tapping motions. And I'm just going to keep tapping and tapping, a little bit like when you apply any base really, rather than like swiping it around. So we want most of it here. So once I feel like most of it is off my brush, that's when I start working towards the sides and just blending it out a little bit, making it a bit softer. And I'm just going to keep doing that up towards the eyeshadow. And I'm pulling down into the centre of the black just so I'm not moving too much of the black around because it's easy to get a little bit messy with it, which is why you just have to take your time. Okay, so before we apply any black shadow over the top, just want to apply a little bit of extra shadow into the crease just to make sure that those areas are nice and blended. So I'm actually going to mix a bit of Trade and a bit of Mug as well. I just think the more like purpley brown, which is Trade, will just help sort of deepen it all up a little bit. So I'm just taking a tiny bit and I'm just very lightly applying this over the edge of the eyeliner and into the transition shades that are already there. Okay, so the next thing we need to do really is just apply our black shadow on top. I'm going to use Shady, and I'm using that same brush which I applied the cream eyeliner with, but I'm turning it over and using the clean side, mainly because I don't actually have another brush at the minute to apply this with. So again, patting motions. If you want really good pigment, especially on your lid, packing the eyeshadow on will work a lot better than kind of sweeping it across. Next, I'm just going to apply black liner to my upper waterline, and it does take a little bit of practice, but this just helps just make it even more smokier because the lid is so dark, and like I say, the roots of my lashes are really fair, so I like to do my upper waterline and I try and get it into like the roots of my lashes too. Okay, so I've got this glitter from LA Splash, and it's really dark and sparkly. It's absolutely lovely. So I'm just going to tip a little bit of this out, and then to stick that on, I'm going to use the NYX Glitter Primer. I'm just taking a little bit of the glitter glue, and I'm applying it into the centre, and then just tapping it all over where I want this glitter. Try and not get this everywhere. And really press the glitter on. Don't be shy about pressing it on because then it's not going to budge anywhere. I find it hard to find black glitters which don't look too silvery. This one doesn't. It's so pretty. Start in the centre and work your way out, just like we did with the liner, with the gel liner. And you want to make sure that all the glitter is off because you don't want it sitting underneath your foundation. Okay, so I've just quickly applied my lashes as well. I'm going to do my under eyes today before I do any of my foundation, just because we are using more dark eyeshadows today. So the first thing I'm going to do is go back in with my eye pencil. You can use your gel liner for this as well, if that's all you've got. And I'm just going to go into my waterline. Also taking this, smudging it into the lash line as well. Okay, then I'm going to take a clean smudge brush and just start smudging that out, and I'm meeting this very outer corner as well, just so it all looks quite rounded at the very end. Really push it into the lash line. So I'm going to go in with the black shade now, and I'm going to be pressing this straight over the top. Okay, so I'm going to start to transition that out a little bit, and I'm going to mix was it Mug and Trade again, so both of those on. I've got like a little pencil brush. This is a Morphe 149. It's one of my favourites to use on the under eyes. So I'm going a little bit over the black and then a little bit underneath as well, so like the 50-50 technique. Okay, so let's quickly do base. I'm going to use the Huda Beauty the Faux Filter foundation. And just so we get a super full coverage today, I'm just applying it with a brush first. This is just like your typical like flat foundation brush, and then I'm going to blend it in with my beauty blender. And it looks a little bit scary now, but I promise that it won't when we've got all of our other base products on. And then for my concealer, I'm using my Tarte Shape Tape, and I use a mix of light, medium sand and light sand. So I'll start with light medium sand just in these inner corners, and just be careful of your shadow. And then I go in with the lighter one just as my highlight. So I start with a sponge for this part, but sometimes a brush is a little bit more helpful, especially if you've already done your under eye. So I'll do a little mix of both. Okay, then I'm just going to use a clean brush, and I'm just going to tap over the edges and just blend the edge into eyeshadow. Okay, let's add some warmth. I'm just using my Morphe contour stick. So I'll just apply this in all my usual places. I've had this stick for so long now and I haven't even yet had to wind it up or anything. And then just using my contour brush to blend this out. This is definitely a look I'm going to wear when we can actually go out to like a club or something. It's definitely a full glam today. Okay, and just using the Nye Cameo Powder just to set all of my concealed areas, mainly my under eyes and like around my nose and my chin. Then for my bronzer, I've got the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is in Cappuccino. It might be a little bit too dark for me, so I'm just gonna go like quite light with it. And for blush, I'm using Luminoso, which is my all-time favourite. Just on the cheeks and then blend it back. And then for highlight, I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills So Hollywood, and I'm going to use this to highlight my inner corners as well. And then for lips, I'm going to first use MAC Spice lip liner. Okay, and then for lipstick, I've got this from Beauty Boulevard. This is in the shade Remedy. Such a nice nude. Okay guys, so that is my super full glam black smoky eye. I really hope you do enjoy it. Let me know if you do down in the comments. Please give it a big thumbs up as well, and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next week in my next one. Bye.